Hello and welcome back to World in Flames with Days of Decision 3, cobbled together with chewing gum and duct tape. We are heading in towards March and April of 1940, and January, February was last week, and the turn ended much as 1939 did, with the war unresolved but not unmoving. Britain and France have finally signed a level 2 treaty, which means that they can now cooperate, and the British Expeditionary Force does have the right to exist in France. As it turns out, right now the British are actually here in Belgium, in Antwerp, and if Wavell takes a step down here into France, there can be 3 more British units gathering together with the French there. But that is... There isn't a whole lot of British units here to send. There's one. 6-4. The Britain has to build more troops, basically. The Allied position in the West has been hardening into something that Germany may found difficult to crack. There is an offensive chit on the way for next turn that will probably help the Germans with cracking this particular nut. We'll see if the Germans can do anything this turn. It depends on the weather. The Luftwaffe has paid dearly for every attempt to recover the skies over France. The Atlantic lifeline has been held so far. The U-boats have not been terribly successful. But meanwhile, in the east, the picture, we have a level 1 treaty and non-aggression pact between Japan and the Soviets, which the Soviets could break at basically any time now if they wanted to, though that would of course have the corresponding US entry effects. Japan is still pressing in China. They managed to take another hex last turn. This is not supposed to be flipped, it's unflipped, thank you very much. As they pushed further into China, 1 hex only. But even that, the victory is not assured yet, because the ground war asks for more than bombs alone can provide. Spring is coming, everyone knows it. Who will be ready when it arrives? Let us begin, as always, with the political phase. We have some pre-prepared bids that I've done here. And let's see who bids what this turn, shall we? Some wild bids we've seen recently, and they continue to be pretty wild. France is bidding 14 this turn. Yes, you heard that right, 1-4. We're going for the full level 3 treaty, it seems like. 17 bid points in total bet here. The Commonwealth is bidding 11 plus 4, that gives them 15 in total. The Soviets 11 as well, but they only have plus 3, so they will go after the Commonwealth. Germany bids 9, plus 2 is 11 in total, which puts them in behind the Soviets. And then Italy is bidding 2, plus 2 is 4. We have the US is bidding 1, because we know the Allies are bidding high 2 turns in a row here. And then we have Japan and China also bidding 1 each, as per usual. Sooner or later, we will get a turn that lasts longer than only 2 countries doing something. For now, however, in pole position, it is France that is going all out. They're taking the moment because they haven't taken a whole lot of casualties yet. So there is some money and there are some bid points. And we're going to sacrifice the bid points, of course, and also 10 money, which brings us down to -6 money. But they have decent production here, the French do. They're in a good place right now. We will see here. France will, very not surprisingly, propose a great power pact with the Commonwealth. That will be the 3rd and final level for these 2 countries. But we don't know if it succeeds or not until the British have responded. But the French do get the chance here to activate a minor country. And which one should that be? It's not going to be Turkey. It's not going to be Greece. Or maybe it should be Greece because it's a -1 to both of them. Bulgaria, we don't like the +4 to Germany there. Where is Bulgaria right now? Bulgaria is in the center here. Neutral. These 4 countries here are the 4 remaining completely neutral minor countries. And Bulgaria would go a step towards Germany, but also a step towards the Soviets. If France activates Bulgaria, we would have it like here. Because we can use the German marker first and then the Soviet marker, which is much better than if the Germans would activate it, because then it would end up here on top of Ireland. Yugoslavia has already been activated. There's no point in activating there. Finland, where's Finland on the scale here? Way too close for comfort. Iraq is completely neutral. Well, we don't want to activate them yet because we want to have some more pluses there. Some more positive factors. Portugal, we could move them 2 steps. Not sure that is as important right now as... Yeah, I think Bulgaria is the best way to go, really, with this setup. So let us do that. Bulgaria will be activated. This is what we're getting here. The Balkan nations are reacting to the world around them. The major power that is doing the activation gets to decide in which order the chits are played, the movement points are played. So France will obviously use the German one first, moving Bulgaria out of the strictly neutral zone into 1 step towards the Axis camp, and then playing. But that's as far as it goes, because it costs 3 points to go out here and 2 points to the next step, so it won't get any further. And then we activate the Soviet movement points, so it goes 1 step towards the Soviets, and that is that. Bulgaria is out of the most neutral position, smack dab in the middle of the board, but moves so that it is between the Communist and Axis camps. And that is that as far as France goes. Let's see if we can get some other result than a 1 or a 2. These dice have been notorious. I've just jinxed it, haven't I? Let's go. A 10. I have not jinxed it. Okay. The Commonwealth gets to do something. And the Commonwealth will respond, yes please, to France. We agree. So this means that the level 2 treaty, the level 3 treaty between the Commonwealth and France is now completed. France pays an extra 3 money for this, going down to -9. This means complete collaboration between these. They can now stack together, they can now fight together in every way, shape, and form, and they can send each other resources. I don't think they need to right now. They are not gonna do any new economic agreement as such. But we do get some calculations here for US entry and the various minor country effects coming out of this. So let's have a look, shall we? Making a treaty. Great Power Pact in 1940. It's 2 points US entry there. And we're making a treaty with the Commonwealth. That gives us 4 points there. So it's 6 points in total. That's 7 points because, of course, the US the president did veto the Neutrality Act. So it's 7 points to France. And France had formerly 38. Which brings us to 45. Well, and that means that we now have an effective US entry against Germany of 19, against Italy of -23, and against Japan of 21. And that is the situation for now with the US entry. In other words, the prompt actions of the Allies so far, and now we can properly call them the Allies, have basically soothed American worries, as maybe there is a set of complacency setting in Washington, in Congress, over this. We are signing a treaty with the Commonwealth, and that means Belgium doesn't exist, Czechoslovakia doesn't exist, Netherlands do not exist, Spain does exist, which is a -1. Let's see how that works here. Yeah, Belgium doesn't exist, Czechoslovakia, Denmark doesn't exist, Ireland a -3. Okay, yep. The Irish do not like it when you sign treaties with the Commonwealth. They are passionately anti-British. Okay, so that should actually be a -5 in total. Look at that, to France in Ireland. I have a feeling Ireland might drift into the Axis side here, like how this is going. Not that it's gonna matter a whole lot for the grand strategy of the game. Ireland does have a minor port in Dublin, but aside from that, there are no military units and there's no resources or factories there. I guess using that port in Dublin would be nice for German submarines, if it should come to that, because that would extend. 2 submarines could go there and do bad things to the British convoy and Allied convoy lines. Do -3 to Ireland, +1 to the Netherlands. They don't exist anymore. Norway -1. Okay. -1. Yep. That gives us a -4 to Norway in total. No. I'm sorry, it's just a -1. Because this is the French, not the British. I know what I'm doing. Don't you worry. Really? Really? Okay, there we go. -1. What else did we have? Norway. Poland doesn't exist anymore. Portugal does exist. +1. Okay. +1 to Portugal. And there is already a 2, so we now have +2 to Portugal. Yeah, we could move Portugal quite a ways towards the Allies. Sooner or later, that's going to be useful. What else do we have? +2 to Spain. -1 to Spain is +1 to Spain in total. And we had a -1, so there's now a 0 to Spain in total. And we have, what else? Spain, Turkey a +1. Turkey -1, so it's 0 net. Net 0. And then we have +1 to Yugoslavia, which is actually helpful right now because Yugoslavia is on top of the French marker. If France can break the Soviet alliance with Yugoslavia, it can then join in Yugoslavia into the war as an active participant and minor ally. Though that does require 2 political actions to complete, so that was it, I believe, for all the effects. Yep, which means that we can go to activate a minor country for the Commonwealth. Which one, though? Which minor country might we want to activate? With 1 more minus here, we could get the Spanish Republic moving towards the democracies, but that's not going to happen right now. Portugal could move 3 steps towards the Allies. No, it cannot. It can move 2 steps towards the Allies because the 3rd step would cost an extra point, which is a little bit annoying. So maybe not. Siam, no. -2 to the Commonwealth for Finland. Is the -3 to Sweden as well. We don't like that much, do we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could push Finland over there instead of it going into the Axis zone. That is an idea. And I think it's the least harmful thing we can do right now, honestly. We do not want Finland to join the Axis if you're a democracy. The longer you can postpone that, the better. So, there we have it. Finland is going to be reoriented a little bit. Some British diplomats are going out there. So, Paris seeks full strategic unity with Britain. The French government has moved to deepen its wartime partnership with Great Britain still further, proposing a new and more far-reaching level of political and military cooperation as spring approaches and the Western war prepares to thaw. French leaders believe the winter has proven two things beyond doubt. First, that Germany remains dangerous despite recent frustrations, and second, that the democracy can no longer afford anything less than the closest possible unity. What began as coordination is now being forged into common strategy. And in London, the British government has accepted this French proposal for a deeper strategic partnership, tightening the Anglo-French bond at the very moment when both nations prepare for the campaigns of 1940. The agreement reflects the hard lessons of the winter fighting. Britain is now committed not merely to supporting France, but to standing with her in a more integrated and practical alliance, one meant to ensure that men, material, and planning move together when the next German move falls. So that is the tight bond between them. And Germany and Italy don't even have a level 1 treaty yet, so there's a lot of catching up to do on the Axis side compared to this. Italy actually has a non-aggression pact with France at this particular point in time. And for the first time in a long time, we're going to get a third major power doing something during politics. Look at that. Yeah, that's finally. The Soviets will propose a non-aggression pact with Germany. And that has cost the Soviets... How many points did we put into this? 11? Oop. That's 11 bid points there. So all the bid points remaining. And yeah, all the money remaining, basically. Yeah, because it was 8 bid points plus 3 is 11. Now we'll see if that's going to work. Moscow renews its bid for an understanding with Berlin. The Soviet Union has again moved to reach a formal political understanding with Germany, offering a limited arrangement designed to regulate relations between the two great continental powers, while the Western War remains unresolved. No one will mistake the proposal for friendship. It's a cold measure born of cold logic. Moscow seeks freedom of action, time to build, and a room to decide its next move without immediate confrontation with its Western neighbors. And the Soviets will activate a minor country, of course, but which one? Bulgaria has already been activated, which is the way it is. Could activate Sweden, a -3 to the Commonwealth. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Let's do that. -3. Some communist whispers into Swedish ears. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would move Sweden over here, which is a step closer to the Soviet Union. Or over there. That works too. And this way it doesn't actually get closer to the Germans, which is always important. Now Sweden is completely neutral between the communist and democracy camps. So that is the Soviet activation. The Soviet Union won't pay any money for the treaty until Germany has answered, and nor will there be any minor country effects until the Germans have answered. To do that, we need 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5+ on the die roll. And we got just 5+. Look at that. Germany responds and says, yes, please. Jawohl. And that means that the Soviets will actually have to pay for this one for money. So, -4. And let's see what the effects will be of this treaty. First of all, it's 1945 US entry there, +6, that's 11, 12 in total. So we are going to have, for the Soviet Union, 49 there in base US entry, gives us a -2. Sorry, -2 in adjusted US entry. An adjusted US entry of 13 against Germany, -29 against Italy, and 15 against Japan. So all these treaties between various countries have really made Congress... I'm not sure I would draw the same conclusion here as the American Congress does. The non-aggression pact between Germany and the Soviet Union, it does mean that Germany is not, we're not going to see a repeat of 1914 here in this war, with Germany fighting on two fronts. But I'm not sure that means that there will be less bloodshed in the world. Maybe the Congress is not drawing the right conclusions from this. Okay, so, well, Austria doesn't exist. Baltic states do exist. So that's going to be a -2 there and a +2 there, which means 0. Belgium doesn't exist anymore. Bulgaria does exist. And that's going to be a +1. Okay. +1 to Bulgaria. Bulgaria was just activated recently. The Soviets would have liked to have one more step towards the Soviet zone. Not going to happen this time. So, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia doesn't exist. Finland does exist. -1. And Czechoslovakia -2 doesn't matter because it doesn't exist. Denmark doesn't exist. Nothing there to Finland. So it's just a -1 to Finland. And it's going to be a Soviet -1. So there we have that. We have Hungary -1. Nothing here at all, so it's just a plain old -1 for the Soviets, which turns into a -3 because of previous sentiments in Hungary. What else do we have? Do Denmark, Hungary, Iraq, Ireland, Netherlands doesn't exist. Norway does exist, -1. So a slight antipathy in Oslo towards this development. What does it mean? Where will the Soviets turn next? Romania -1, let's see, Hungary, Iraq, Netherlands, Norway, Persia, Poland -2 doesn't exist anymore, Portugal nothing, Romania -1. -1 to Turkey. Sweden +1, actually. +1 to Sweden. And you look at that. And then -1 to Turkey there. Okay, yeah, -1 to Turkey. What about Yugoslavia? +1, in fact. And there we have it. Those are the minor country effects from this. Germany has to activate a minor country. But which one? Could we mess with Norway in some way? -3 to the Commonwealth. That is enough to move Norway out of the democratic sphere and will cut off the one resource going to France right now. So let's do that. That will be a very effective use of this. We can have the -1 to the Soviets, the -1 to France. Okay, so the -1 to the Soviets would move it here. The -1 to France moves it there. And then a -3 to the Commonwealth moves it over here. That's as far as we can get it to move. So Norway's previously very close relationship with France ends as this closer tie between France and the Commonwealth causes the Oslo government to back away and prefer a stance of more of neutrality, cutting off the trade and the supplies going to. Maybe the Norwegians are worried that the Norwegian merchant marine will be targeted by German U-boats. That's entirely possible. For now, these resources are not coming Norway's way anymore, France's way anymore. So France is now losing a resource. There we go, and thus have 11 production per turn now. So France is not too pleased with that. The treaty level had to be gotten, so that's where we're at. Yeah, so Berlin buys time in the east. Germany has accepted a political understanding offered by the Soviet Union, securing temporary calm on its eastern flank while preparing for the campaigns it hopes to launch in the west. For Berlin, this decision is one of necessity as much as convenience. The Reich has paid heavily in air power, money, and momentum over the winter, and a temporary accommodation with Moscow offers breathing room at a moment where every reserve matters. So that is Berlin's comment, maybe not comment, but that is the analysis of the political journalists in Berlin right now. Probably some Americans and Swiss journalists, maybe some Swedish and Norwegian ones, who knows. Definitely Swiss as well, yeah. Definitely not Danes though, because the war and all. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 plus to continue with the turn. Who knows how this will end. That will actually end the turn. Though for once, half of the nations got to do something. Italy's just sitting there and like, ah, so close. I have not adjusted the bid points for Germany yet. We had Germany bidding a bunch. Germany bid 9 in total. And we had 5 only bid points here. So that was 5, and then -4 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the situation. I think the Americans want to gear up finally. They haven't had the chance yet. It's a year and plus since they were allowed to. And yeah, there's going to be gear ups coming. They get 1 more bid point because they didn't actually get to do anything this turn. On the other hand, the French and the Commonwealth are pretty tapped out politically by now because they have done 2 turns in a row with very high bids. France still has politics to do. Getting Yugoslavia into the war would be a great coup for them, if for no other reason than to just tie up some German forces on the flank there. And yeah, Italy bid 2, did not get to do anything, gets 3 back, so it's going to go net +1. Japan, as so often, did not get to do anything. Bid a single 1, has 2 effectiveness, so it gets a +1 as well. China is ±1 like always. And that is the situation for the 4 powers that did not get to do any bidding. Or did not get to play any political options, I want to say. Reinforcement stage. The Chinese are getting some reinforcements of significance here. Mao is returning to the field with a new HQ. But not just that. He is returning to the field with a new HQ. Where did the other troops go? Oh, they're still in the spiral. Come on, let me nab both of them. There we have it. With a full infantry army raised in Lanzhou, and Mao himself. This is going to be very welcome for the communists, I believe, because this 7-3 here is a little bit exposed. It's not in the mountains, it doesn't have any river protections, and so on. Chiang gains an air force. We have Chinese air force on the map for the first time since 1937, which is probably going to be very frustrating for the Japanese. They will have to pull down fighters here too, because this Japanese fighter here is nowhere near enough to encounter that Chinese fighter. Okay, we have Soviet reinforcements consisting of a Siberian infantry and an infantry and an army, a tank army as well. So that's plenty. That is plenty. I don't think we have any space in Leningrad, but we have some space in Novgorod. The new city. as it were. And Yakutsk, because they're Siberians, dang it. And then we have the Japanese, who are getting a 7-4 army coming in. And I'm just going to pop that in. I can pop that in Nagoya. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. 7-4 is sturdy. A sturdy army, to be sure. Alright, we also have a whole bunch of other reinforcements. Italy gets a bunch of stuff. Destroyer hulls laid down, go to the construction pool. We'll get Torio and Vittorio Veneto, the battleships, battleship group. We'll get 2 infantry armies and the Cavallero headquarters. All of them coming in. And let's see where we want to put them. Since we have this situation with the Yugoslavs, we're going to put some folks up here in the northeast of Italy. And Vittorio Veneto can go down to Taranto together with the rest of the Italian Navy. Question is, do we want Italy to declare war on France or not? They should tear up the treaty first, technically, and to declare war they also need to have the right garrison value, which they do not at the moment have. So maybe that's just... we have the border here as well, don't we? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 1, 2, 3. I think it's almost ready to go. I think 2 to 1 might be enough to attack. I'll have to check the rule reference. Of course, the weather will also play a role. So if it's bad weather, there's really no point going in. The French get a 5-3 infantry, and we get a 3-3 Indian infantry corps here for the Commonwealth. So I guess India is well defended. I think we have like all the Indian infantry corps mobilized by now. So very secure. We have the 5-3 French infantry corps. They were lost in Lille a couple of turns ago, and now they're back again. It's the 11th Corps. Where do we want to put the 11th Corps? I think we might want to put them in Metz here, because that makes it easy to just take a step over here and further reinforce. You know, we can shuffle a little bit here, 3-2 to the east, the 5-3 over here, to make sure that we can deflect any attempted breakthrough. We don't have any German infantry coming in this turn or other such because they were building that offensive chit, which cost them 15 build points. It's a lot of money, and that just means that there's a little bit of a space there for a moment. A 5 tactical bomber in the Commonwealth is very welcome indeed, given that we're coming up against the German juggernaut here. Alright, with the reinforcements done, we roll for initiative. Let's go. Boom. And we roll a 6 for the Germans and a 3 for the Allies. And the Allies do not have a reroll. So, yep, that is very definitively an Axis initiative here. And let's see what kind of weather we get. This will be very important for this turn, I believe. A 4. Okay, so a 4, March and April. There's no negatives from last turn. There's no star there, so we're gonna have a 4 unmodified. Okay, this bad weather and 3 steps of moving the impulse marker. You could attack things in the temperate zone here. It is in fact mud. The Mediterranean is clear. The Arctic has mud, the Arctic has winter. No attacks at all in China this turn. 3 steps with the impulse marker. No HQs are allowed to move though, so that is a factor in this. Should Italy declare war on France or not? What is the garrison rule here? You have a non-aggression pact with each other. There we go. Non-aggression pacts. They only break the pact and or declare war on another, which is if it has a non-aggression pact, if it exceeds the modified garrison ratio of 3 to 1 in army points in all territories that border territories controlled by the other major power. So, ratio by 1 with communist power. Each casus bellum a major power has decreases the ratio by 1. Italy has no casus bellum at the moment. Completely conquered. Nope. Treating up all levels of a treaty reduces the ratio by 1 for both major powers. Each 6 turns from the time that the major powers may declare war on each other, reduce the ratio by 1. They started this game with a level 1 treaty, non-aggression pact, France and Italy. So that means 4 turns. No, 3 turns. So, by summer of 36, it was a 3 to 1. 37, it's 2 to 1. 38, it's 1 to 1. So it's basically a 1 to 1. Which means that Italy is technically allowed to declare war on France. Italy would know, of course, that declaring war on France now also means effectively a war with the Commonwealth, because the Commonwealth, the 3 treaty levels gives the Commonwealth casus bellum, so they can automatically declare war right back. And Italy doesn't have Yugoslavia yet, nor does it have Albania yet. Which is arguably a good idea to have if we're going to have a fight with Yugoslavia. And we also don't have the treaty levels with Germany, so we can't stack together, we can't collaborate in any way, shape, or form. Those are things I'm considering right now. Like, Germany would love to see an Italian invasion of Marseille, for example. That would be lovely. Could we get such an invasion going? Yes, we could. We would need transports for that purpose, and I haven't actually placed these troops in a position where they could be easily transported. I have all the transports in Taranto, but I didn't put the infantry in Taranto, did I? Infantry here would be... I suppose I could walk an infantry over to Genoa. So then I'd have 5 and plus whatever that is. So I think we would get an automatic success there and get in. But we wouldn't want to use these guys, would we? We would want to use one of these fellas. Well, let me think on this. Why did I put the infantry there when I might do an invasion of France? Good question, everybody. Good question. Because I didn't think that far, is the simple answer. Italy is doing it combined, like so many other times. We have clear weather in the Mediterranean, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move this one here. And France should not feel worried at all. 1, 2, 3. Those are the 2 moves I get to do with that. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Italy can only activate 1 naval for every combined. So that is literally all Italy can do right now. And it's going to have to send out each ship at a turn. So I don't even know if we will have enough ships to do this. Though, of course, when all the infantry and ships are ready to go, we might have enough ships to do this. Who knows? Yeah. We're not going to be able to do anything against Tunisia because we just don't have enough troops. But we do need to do something about France, and Germany is leaning on Italy to do something, so I think this is the beginning of something. So Air Force, it's all down here. We need more Air Force for the Italians as well. We need more everything, basically. 7-5, yeah. Just I don't think the Commonwealth should leave Alexandria open here, also. No, okay, we're getting stretched. Everybody's getting stretched right now. Okay. Before I do Germany, let's do Japan, because they're also doing combines, of course. And I'm going to do one. We're getting to summer, so there we go. We can't actually do any attacks at all in China this turn. So it's just basically going to be a lot of shuffling, isn't it? That's one step ashore for the Japanese 14th Army. What do we have? What kind of weather do we have in the subtropical North Monsoon? In the North Monsoon we have what? It's clear. Very nice. In the subtropical, it's actually mud, so I can move Yamashita here one step and then he'll get stuck. But that's a step he can move. So that's 2 moves. And then 3. 1, 2. Like that. Look at that. Wonder of wonders. So this way we can sneak around the flank here eventually and get to this 4-2 somehow and try to peel apart things there. That is all the Japanese moves, really. Okay. Italy. No, Germany. Well, Germany. Doing a land, as so many other times. Now they have complete collaboration, so wherever Germany goes with its troops... Didn't I even get a single Luftwaffe this turn? Nope! That's next turn. Okay, got you. So we have a very stalled Germany here, because we only have the 2 Luftwaffe units. Luftwaffe has bled something seriously. And it's going up against 4 French and 3 Commonwealth fighter wings. That's 7. They're outgunned in terms of just numbers, 3-1 in the sky. That is... Eesh. That's what that is. It's eesh. You know, hail of propellers, basically. Okay, so we have here 15. This is clear now in the temperate zone. Plus 7, it's 22 against 9. Yeah, the trick as always is the whole, how do we defend? How do we send out some Stukas to flip stuff, because that's always fun. Or to boost the... But we only get 1 shot at this, and if we take that 1 shot, we won't have anything to defend the factories. If we don't take that shot, we will have 1, 2... Let's see now. How much do we have here? That's 8 points there. They have... So they're going to be effectively doubled because of all the... So they have 9, 10. They're going to have 20 points thanks to all the ground support that the French can get. So that's going to be a problem. 20 points. Yeah, we definitely need the Italians in this. I'm not even sure if I want to dual land with Germans. There are places we could go with the Germans, mind you. Now, Norway is not as important as it was just a moment ago because they have become neutral now. But it's still an extra resource, isn't it? Which we would appreciate down the line. Norway does have 9 points in defense. So to do this, we will actually need to have some extra troops. We have 14 here. And we can get Gneisenau and Scharnhorst out there and these destroyers, which is 6 points more. So that will be 7 for an invasion, plus 6 is 13. 13 against 9 is not enough, is it? If we don't invade straight into Oslo, we could invade into next to Oslo. And that would do the trick, wouldn't it? We do need Oslo because it's a harbor, so we can actually ship the stuff from this city, which I don't know which city that is. Don't know. Sorry, Norwegians, I don't know your geography enough. We currently have 23 resources. We could get up to, yeah, so that would be an instant payoff in terms of money to take Norway. And it's probably easier to take Norway than it is to take some other places around here. Though, we wouldn't take Norway in a single turn, would we? And if we declare war on Norway, we can't make any treaties with Italy next turn. On the other hand, if Italy declares war on France, they can't make any treaties with Germany either. So, that is the situation. Now, regardless, I'm thinking aloud here, as you might notice. Right now, they have the support of 1 point in shore bombardment. But they will also have the support of all the ground support. So that's 13 points in defense. We have that. Unit should not be flipped. Thank you very much. We have 16 points. Plus 14 points is 30. We can get 40 if our bombers get through, which is a big if. And 26. And it's an assault as well, because we're going into a city. 40 divided by 4. Not 14. I said 30, 26. That will be not even a 2-to-1. It's a 1-to-1 into a city. Yeah. That's just a bloody massacre, isn't it? We were waiting for that offensive chit, aren't we? And this was, I said, 15 plus 7. Still gonna be blitzkrieg though. So 15 plus 7 plus possibly 10 more for the bombers. 32 divided by 20. It's a 1-to-1 on the blitzkrieg table. Manstein could make that a 2-to-1, which is hooray! 2-to-1 on the blitzkrieg table is terrible, is what it is. High risk of losing, like 1 and 2. You lose one of your own. We're kind of stuck here, aren't we? And it's mostly because of the Air Force. Just taken so much damage so recently. On the other hand, at some point we're going to have to fight these guys. But I think maybe that some point is perhaps next turn with the offensive chit. Because offensive chits are lovely. Let's see. Offensive chits. There we have it. Okay. An offensive chit may be used to cancel any die roll regardless which major power rolled it. If played at the land action, all attacks on the Blitzkrieg table are made exclusively by units are increased by 2 odds levels. This benefit is not received if the attack involves any minor countries or any other major power units. Overrun made exclusively by units of that major power only require 5 to 1. Aircraft units of that major power do not have their tactical factors for conducting ground strike missions. So, yeah, that will be a huge bonus, isn't it? Increased by 2 odds levels. So instead of having 2 to 1 or 1 to 1, we would have 3 to 1, probably 4 to 1 with Manstein around. And that is surely going to be enough to break through the front, even with all the defenses they have. So I don't really see why we should bother with them right now. So let's do a combined with Germany. We're activating our Navy. We're going to send out everything. Nice and our Scharnhorst, including our full stack of German troops there. And these submarines, because we're activating the port, basically. They will go somewhere, but where exactly? We've already gotten dinged once. Oh, we have to go around, because the freaking... the Navy is very annoying, the Royal Navy. One, two... 3. That's terrible, isn't it? Might not even do any attacks with that. So if we declare war on Norway now, which of course we do, then the Norwegians have these troops here. Norway under attack. This is, I believe, the temperate zone, so no mud. But we're not going to step ashore in Oslo, are we? We're going to step ashore in the hex next to Oslo. And that's 7 points there, plus the 6 for these 2 units. Gives us 13 points in total against a 1. And it's also a surprise, so they will in fact get ashore. I feel like I'm going to need an HQ up there, because I want to send in more troops and I need them to be in supply. So that's 2. One, 2, that's 3 steps. And that's basically it. I'm gonna have to march Rundstedt or send him up here. Eventually he's gonna get up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so he can get to Copenhagen later on. Or maybe we can even transport him now. Let's see, air transports is after land movement. Okay, good. So I'm gonna flip that air transport, put Rundstedt in Copenhagen. Means he doesn't get to the Norwegian front this turn, but he'll get there. He'll get there. We also have another HQ here, Kesselring. So don't worry about HQs, folks. We have plenty of those here. We're just stuck because of the Air Force. That's the only reason we're stuck right now. We can also, that's 1 move, 2, 3. Technically we're attacking, so it wasn't a move. We do not need any tanks in Norway. We have, on a German combined, we have 6 land moves and 2 navals. Wait, what? Do we? Yeah, we do. Fun. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can send this guy down here by rail. And 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And one, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, maybe. So, the occupation of Norway will take a little bit longer, but it will happen. The Allies cannot enter the Baltic Sea because we have Denmark. So that's that. Suppose we can move the 5-3 to Copenhagen as well. But we're not doing any attacks against the French this impulse because... yikes. The French are powerful indeed. We don't like that much. Which means that we're done with the first Axis impulse, really. So, yeah, the war spreads as the Germans are invading Norway. Alright, Allied impulse. Where might we want to take the fighter? The Chinese fighter. Can't stack with the communists yet. The Soviets will activate this communist army here and Mao, so they will be there in the front lines. And we can finally get our piece of Poland. So that is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units right there. Hi, Baltic states. Are you nervous yet? The Soviets can in fact declare war on the Baltic states and do so. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait, it can only do... So we're not going to declare war on the Baltic states this impulse because we don't have enough moves to do that. Because we are doing it combined with the Soviets. Just like we're doing with all other neutral countries. France! Okay, we're going to do the shuffle here. So actually I'm going to move the 4-3 here and the 3-2 here and keep the 5-3 in Metz like that. We are going to send out the Navy, much like we have every other time now. Wait a minute! We saw something happening in the south, didn't we? Like the Italians moving? Oh no. The obvious counter to that is, of course, to send this 5-3 from Paris or this 4-3 from Metz. Okay, so we can't do that. This 4-3 to Marseille. It's gonna be railed down there, which is something we can do, like that. We're not gonna send the subs out, I don't think. France gets 1 naval move. But if we have the Italians on the move, I'm gonna have to do the fleet back to the Med. 1, 2, 3, 4, won't we? So in case something bad happens, we can give proper support down here. Yeah, that is basically what we're gonna do. So the Italians, so this kind of shuffling here from Italy has already worked in the sense that there is now 1 French corps in Marseille that wasn't there before. Marseille, that wasn't there before. Marseille will not be an easy thing to take now, but that's 1 corps that is not going to make it trouble for the Germans, basically. As for the British, we will do a combined for them as well. Let's see, we're gonna move this one here. See, this is what we need here. So we have the 6-4, the 33rd British Infantry Corps right there is going to be moved to the North Sea. The British get 2 naval moves, so the 6-4 goes there. Okay, we need to send out some escorts here. Canadian escorts on the way. And British ones as well. I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patrolling the North Atlantic, and we can throw in even more. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can act. So that was what. No, we can't do both of those. Scratch that, because I activated the London Navy. So Scapa Flow is not coming out of port yet. Isn't that interesting? I think we're gonna set it there then, the 6-4. Of course, the 6-4 is going to go ashore immediately. How many land moves do we have with France? Want to combine. France has 3 land moves, and he thinks I have used them all. This one went there. This one hasn't actually moved. This one did move over here. There's a pile of aircraft in Paris. So I moved 1 unit. I can move 2, 3 like this. Is that a good idea? It's not a terrible idea. We have 14 here, and with a 6-4 here, that's still just a 2-to-1 for little gain. And we can move Wavell down here. So that's 7 in defense, plus all the factors that we... So it's not terrible, but it's not. It's also not ideal. I feel like we're opening up. I feel like we're opening up the flank here a little bit too much, maybe. The French and the British can stack together now, so maybe we do that. We just stack these guys together like that. So this way we have a pretty solid line. With the British in the north, holding the Atlantic connection, the North Sea connection, and the French filling in the back lines here. So if this guy was started here, we've moved 2 units for France. We can move this one. We moved it from here to here, so we can move 1, 2, 3, and we can move this guy over there. So there we go. Now we have a double line, which is much nicer. Britain is in screaming need of infantry, and we won't... I've made a mistake in not building more infantry for the British, I will admit. I'm going to have to do it, because otherwise France will not gain the full benefit of the level 3 treaty, will it? But that is, I believe, all for the 2... Wait, how many moves can we do with the Commonwealth? 3 land moves. So we've done the 2 naval moves, we've done 1, 2 land moves with Britain, and we can do a 3rd one, which is definitely going to be the New Zealanders to Alexandria for now, so that we don't get an Italian invasion on Alexandria. That would be really silly and stupid. We have ourselves a transport out here ready to pick up some Aussies, but we can't activate this impulse because we activated other units. So that is that. Alright, that means that we are done with both sides' impulses. We're moving 1, 2, 3, because that is how it goes with this weather. And the Axis get another impulse. Japan can move 3 units. Move 1 across the river here. 1 more up there, so we can start putting some pressure on the flank in the north here with... That's 6 points plus 5. Gives us 11 against 4, which is a start. Bad weather is going to come to this area here, so we can do some rebasing of aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 4 to Wuhan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. We have these nice parents on these boys here. So we've done one move there. 2 moves actually. 3 moves like this with the medicine. So we can provide HQ support. And that is basically that for the 3 Japanese moves. Italy. Can move out another transport here. These guys over there. That's 2 activations. One, 2 with Cavallero. Thinking. We are thinking. Is it a good idea to declare the war yet? Not this impulse, clearly. It has to wait another impulse. But we cannot easily take Marseille at this point. So... where would we land? We need a proper bridgehead that we can develop without getting intercepted by... We need some... The Italians would need to basically lock down the Mediterranean properly. So right now the British do not have a whole lot of fleet in the Med. So the Italians would only have to contend with the French fleet, basically. Maybe the British will have to send something down to the Rock to deal with that. That is not impossible. But that is basically as far as we get with the Italians for now, because they can only move 2 land units and 1 naval unit per impulse. For Germany, we have used both the transports to get ashore in Norway. You know what? We're going to have that there instead. So next impulse, it can fly the HQ right over here and provide some supply into the inland. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 5-3 there. We have a 5-4 here. 6-4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3. From there they can be railed to Vienna, for example. So we have a little bit here of a front line slowly mobilizing against a potential Yugoslavian involvement in the war. But once again, we are not attacking because we're still waiting for that offensive chit. Might want to build another. Offensive jets are lovely. That is basically it for the Axis side right now. There isn't a whole lot else they can do. No attacks going on. Allied side. Okay. Shang is there. I don't know why he wasn't stacked properly, but now he is. We are getting flanked here by the Japanese, but they are not allowed to attack this turn because of the weather, so I think we're gonna keep these guys here. Even afterwards, it might be worthwhile, though the Japanese can, of course, lengthen the lines even further, and then this 4-2 will be in trouble. But I think it's worth using this breathing room to just clog up the Japanese movements. Eventually we're going to have to move them over here. And then the Japanese will... This flank here will be protected by the lake a little bit, so that's something. Otherwise, there isn't a whole lot going on in China at the moment. There isn't a whole lot going on there either. The Soviets can declare war on the Baltic states. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That is 3 moves. 4 moves. I guess like that. 4 and 1, 2, 3. 5 moves, and Riga is in our possession as well. So the Soviets will grab the Baltic states immediately. We'll have to declare war on a future turn. And is going to demand the Bessarabian area as well eventually. There's some time. We're not in a hurry. So that is the Soviets. The French and the British. We do not want to pick a fight with the Luftwaffe right now because we don't want to... We could send out... And the British will do a combined, at the very least. I think... Yeah, combined, why not? And as such, we have noted the problem of the Italians. So, I think we're going to send the Furious and the Ark Royal. Nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to send the Glorious and the Courageous together with Renown and Hood, as well as this destroyer group. No, we don't have any destroyer groups left in the North Atlantic. We need destroyer groups. 1, 2... 3... 4, 5. The French now have the full backing of the Royal Navy. And we'll send these guys because we're activating the port. 1, 2, 3, 4. And why not all of them? So we have a proper lockdown. Okay, maybe not all of them. I'll keep the Warspite and the Valiant as a reserve for reasons. So there we have that. They are out there. That's a naval move. We can do some ground strikes, but now that the Luftwaffe is actually unflipped, I'm not sure I want to do that. Now we're staring at each other from different sides here. If we do the ground strike with the aircraft carriers, and in that case, I guess Wainwright is going to see his first action, isn't he? But strategic bombardment is before ground strikes. So, do we want to do a strategic bombardment? We have this 5 here. And a British strategic bomber can go how far again? Come on, 12! Isn't that lovely? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They can go all the way to Berlin, and there's nothing the Germans can do to intercept that. So let's do that, shall we? A D6 to hit some factories in Berlin. Goering is eating his hat right now. And it's not intercepted, so it is a 3 with... How many factories did we have again? 8. Okay, that is going to cost the Germans 1 production this turn. So that is a palpable hit with the bombers. And then, do we want to do a ground strike here? With our aircraft carrier. Why not? Let's use both of these guys. The Germans will not bother to intercept that, so yeah, go ahead and bomb if you like. We're not going to bother. So, 2s. That's 1, And 2, that's a hit. And the one on top is not hit. Okay, that infantry next to Karl Voss is hit just again. It's been hit so many times now by... But this time it wasn't French naval bombers or the French carrier flights. This one it was the Royal Navy. They just keep disrupting things here. The French they can do a combine as well, but I'm not so sure. I don't think we want to use the combine for strategic bombing, because those 5 factors are key to the defenses of France. So we're just going to let that be for now and hope that it passes, as it were. Well, that will be it for... That was one naval activation, right? Because we activated Scapa Flow. We're going to activate this one as well and bring some Aussies out. Let's go. 1, 2, 3... and 4. There we go. If we get another impulse, there is another transport here that could go to pick up the Canadians here, who are very much needed. Very much needed indeed. Probably should have done that before the Australians, honestly. But we're gonna get another impulse, aren't we? Yes, we are. So it's gonna be fine. That's what I'm saying. I think the Allies are done with all they wanted to do. So we roll to see if the turn ends. The turn does not end. 1, 2, 3. Next time it ends on a 2. Axis moves. 1, 2. So now we have 12 plus 3, which is 15 against 4, which is much better odds. And these guys are in supply because Umetsu is right there. So, yeah. Those guys are gonna get cooked. That's 2 moves. 3? Yeah. We can rail something. I guess I'm railing these guys to Taiwan. That is really it, I think. Huh. That's it for Japan. Italy. So, if we're declaring war on France, this impulse, it will have some major significance for the US entry, but on the other hand, oops, we also get to engage the French Navy, and because we are the ones who are attacking first, we don't have to contend with the British Navy until the next British phase. And who knows, we might be able to sneak through the transports and do some damage. Have these guys as well. Italy isn't ready for war, but you know what? It's 1940. Let's do this. So, Italy declares war on France. We haven't even taken Albania yet. Gee, it's a weird war, isn't it? And because Italy declares war on France, but France was already at war on this map, Italy does not get a surprise impulse. But we do get Italy to do a full naval. So, 1, 2, yeah, this one gets up here. We are going to send out the entire Italian Navy, obviously. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Before we do this, where's the Italian aircraft carrier? Oh, look at that. I haven't built it yet. That's what. Because it's not due on the map until November, December 42. That's annoying. At this stage, though, I would get pretty even odds. But I need more fighters. I don't think Italy is ready to go to war yet, honestly. Because of the freaking aircraft carriers. We only have the one fighter down here. We need more fighters. And more infantry. But Germany is also leaning on Italy to get involved. What can we do down here? We have 10, 13, that is 2 to 1. But with some shore bombardment we can increase that and start doing something about Tunisia maybe. Decisions, decisions. This 3 here. I would really like to have this 4 up there as well. But then we'd have the British fighter to contend with. So we're outgunned in the air whatever we do initially. I think Italy should wait a moment. But Germany doesn't want Italy to wait. Okay, let's do this. Fortune favors something, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're sending these guys down here. And then we have actually let's put so we don't have these transports all alone. No, we don't have to have them all alone. We can have them with these 2 destroyer groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are looking for the French, I guess. Are we doing this? Yes, we're doing this. Declaration of war on France. From Italy. And we don't find anything. That should be a black die, though. It should be a black die. Here we go. So the French find nothing and the Italians do find something. Okay. But they rolled a 3, so these guys are not involved in this. So we will have one combat turn here on the high seas. Our first major naval engagement of this campaign. And it will be between land-based naval bombers from Italy and the French naval air component in Béarn and Comtesse. And we have Bianchi here on one of the transports being escorted. Yeah. So, 3 versus 3. Let's see now. If these guys are naval bombers, they go right through. And if these guys are naval bombers, they go right through. So, it's up to the French if they want to use their aircraft as fighters or naval bombers. And if they use them as fighters, they might bring down some Italian naval bombers, which would be good for France. So let's do that. It's 0-0 for the Italians and the French. This is a huge gamble, but Il Duce is known for doing gambles, isn't he? Let's go. Alright, that is... oh my god. The French Air Force is as good as always. We got... what was it? 11 for the French on a 0. Yeah, that is an AX. So... this one is destroyed immediately. Will not get through. Disaster for the Italians. 9. That was a bad gamble. 9 on a 0 is defender aborts. So, at the very least, these guys do not get through either. We're gonna abort the Béarn and Comtesse to Marseille. It's gonna be flipped for the rest of the turn. And that is essentially that for now. So now the Italians have no naval air at all. That's not good for Italy at all. That's a terrible outcome. The worst possible outcome, probably. So, if we embark these boys here on the land move, which we can do because we have 2 land moves, we just have to hope that they get through here. And then we have a potential attack here with, we said, 10, 13 points. That's 2-1. Plus another 5. So if Graziani helps out, we would have 13 plus 5 is 18. So it's 3-1. And Graziani could make it 4-1 against the Tunisian French. Okay, so Graziani will try to make it 4-1. He fails, and it is 3-1 on the assault table. It's a 5 though. That is a victory for the Italian forces in Tunisia. The French 6-3 is destroyed. The Italians are breaking through. Graziani is flipped. And so is everybody else. But the road is clear to Tunis and basically all of the French North Africa. And that is basically what we get. Yeah, they will flip. The shore bombardment helped out a great deal. And that is basically what we get for this impulse from the Italians, who have now officially entered the war. Germany. Great. Move that one up there. Move this one 1, 2, 3. Would love to collaborate more there. Cannot right now. But we can move these guys down here. There's going to be a lot of new US entry because of this going through the non-aggression pact. But maybe it'll be worth it. Who knows? Okay, let's roll to see if the turn ends. It does not end. Allied second impulse. If the Axis get one more impulse, they can actually land in France, in southern France. Who knows? Not my best planned turn ever, I will admit, but it was something. There was never going to be a surprise against the French, regardless. I have a 6-3 here that I can move one step. Lanzhou is very powerful, so yeah, maybe not. Maybe not Lanzhou. We can exploit the fact that the communists, so one step like that, one step like that, the communists and the nationalists cannot collaborate properly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we can use our air force, the Japanese air force, against exclusively communist units in a future summer turn, and maybe make some headway towards Lanzhou. There's no resources to be gotten there or anything like that, but there is. So this is much more valuable territory here in the south, but we're getting to the time when it's going to be bad weather in the south, so we're probably not going to get much through there. What am I doing? Oh, Allied. So why am I moving the Japanese? 1, 2, 3, 4. Back you go. Back you go. Do. Senility. I don't need coffee, you do. It's a thing I say sometimes. Yeah, the Chinese don't really have anything to add here. We know we're getting the flanking situation here, but we're gonna make the Japanese work for that until next impulse, hopefully, when we can fold ourselves back here. Why give up territory when we don't have to this particular impulse? Of course, it always carries a risk, because it might be that the Japanese will gain the initiative next turn, and then they can smash that 4-2, and that would be bad. Anyway, meanwhile in the east we can move these guys like this, like that. Soviets have made their moves, as it were. That's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be it, basically. The Commonwealth, of course, declares war in Italy in turn. We are going to have to try to do something about some Italian ships here. Why don't we do a naval? Because we don't really have any, or do we have anything land-based to do? That 6-3 is juicy, but I don't think that we have enough troops to do anything about them yet. We have 11. No, we're going to be patient. We're going to wait for the Aussies. We're also going to send out the transport here. So, from London, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And then we have, if we're doing a combine instead of a naval, then we only have one more naval activation. But I feel like that is the right choice, because we do need to get the Canadians embarked, which is a land move. What do we have here? Only one more naval activation. This is pretty even in terms of strength. I might wait until we can activate the others as well. Though, we have the French 5 here, the French destroyer here. So the French can send out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 together with these guys, and they will operate together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we have it. We can activate a British destroyer, for example, and see if we can find any Italian ships out here. all the ships at sea, etc., etc. The British will roll. And that is a surprise on the British and the French, so that's bad. And the Italians do find them. Okay. I'm not sure the Italians even wanted to find them, honestly. But this is going to be a naval battle now, but it's going to be a bit one-sided because there's only the naval factor from the Glorious and the Courageous. So we have 3 naval bombers going against, and they are surprised, so it's going to be a lot of flak here. So we have 5 plus 5 is 10 flak. 10 flak versus 1 enemy bomber is rolling a 1 on number 2 here, which becomes the number 3, right? Shift 1 to the left is surprised. The opponent was caught surprised. So 10 with there. It's still the same table. 1 on the number 2. I roll a 5 on the number 2 table, so that is 2 AA factors, so only 1 bomber actually gets through. 1 one surface unit versus how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships. Anti-air to sea, 1 versus 5 ships. That is 1 on the 1, so it's actually nothing at all, because they were surprised, so nothing much happens. Yeah, that is basically it. A lot of flak in the air, and nothing more than that. It would be much better if the British had found these guys. That was not the case this time. Let's see if we can find anything in the central Mediterranean. The Italians roll a 1, so yes, they find the British, and the Allies roll a 3, so they find. So both sides find each other, and Franco-British naval force here against Caio Giulio and Giulio Cesare. And this is going to be just guns, because there's not an aircraft in sight, so it's going to be 14 versus 10. So we have 14 surface factors. Yeah, it's the same again. Enemy naval units is 2. So 1 on the 3 for the Allies, which is a 2. It's a 2. It's an aborted light surface, and we have to 1 damaged something. And then we have, because there's no CV there, it's going to have to be exchanged for something else. And then we have the Italians shoot at the same column, and they roll a 4. So that is going to be... It's 1 on the 2, right? No, it's 3 ships this time. Naval units there, so it's actually 1 on the 3. Look at that. Isn't it? No, because they have 10. They don't have 11. So we have 1 on the 2. And I rolled a 4. Surface. That is... I rolled a... Wait a minute. I'm confusing myself. They had 14 on 3 units. 1 on 3. Oh, that's what I rolled. Yeah, okay. And I rolled a 2. And then I rolled a 4. Okay, got you. This is a slim British victory. The Italians will have an aborted light surface. No. Yeah, a aborted light surface and a damaged battleship. In this case, both of them. I guess the Andrea Doria will be damaged and the other one will be aborted. So that goes into the repair pool, which establishes Allied supremacy over that particular area in the ocean. But then we had the 4, which is an aborted CV and aborted light surface, which we're going to translate to 2 aborted destroyers, basically. Let's send them back to Syria again, because we don't want them to. And we can send these guys back to Malta. And that leaves the Lion and the Temeraire in control of the central Mediterranean for now. So that is it for that particular naval impulse. I mean, I guess the British have done a search roll, so I guess the French can do a search roll as well. Here we go. Lots of action at the high seas this time. So let's see if there's anyone who finds anything. Nope, not at all. The 2 big navies just sail past each other and cannot find each other in the high seas. Okay then, I think that is it as far as the Allies go. We have had our first naval engagements of note in this war. Will the turn end? It will not. Once more, the turn goes on. Axes get another impulse, and this is exactly what the Italians wanted. They are lucking out with that. Okay, we are going to land with the Italians here. Are we going to do a naval engagement? No, we're not, because we don't want to lose the transports. They have been a bit iffy there, right? So instead we're doing some land moves here. 1, 2, Cavaliero. We can activate these submarines. Where do we want to send those guys? There's a convoy here that is lovely unprotected, but there's also that one that we want to attack. 1, 2, 3. So we can attack those convoys with Italian submarines. That's 1 naval activation right there. And then 4 points to attack. And I think we're going to attack close to the Pyrenees and Toulouse. That would be 4 points plus 4. So that's going to be 8-1, which is not the same as 10-1. This is an assault. 7-1 on the invasion. It's not 7-1, or no, because these guys, can any of these guys provide shore bombardment? It's a -2, yes. So one of these can actually provide shore bombardment, so it's actually against 2. So we have 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's 4-1 actually. Can you do shore bombardment against 4 notional unit? It's not gonna matter this time. 2-1, 6. Yeah, they get ashore. So we have Italians ashore in southern France. The Yankee has been watching the Italian expeditionary force landing in southern France. They're far away from the Alps, but that is also the point, because this will have to stretch the French defenses to their limits. Now the only problem is these guys are very far from, yeah, but that's Caballero, and maybe we can get some mobilization going that way. Do we want to attack anything here? Not really. Gort has a 7 in defense. We have... I can move 1 unit there, or 1, 2, 3. That's all I can do, right? Where was Badoglio? I think Badoglio was down here. So that's 8 in defense. 7 plus 11 is 18 plus 4 is 22. Against 8 is 2 to 1. 25 against 8 is 3 to 1. But that requires getting through the Royal Air Force. And also not having Gort do anything silly. Can I do 2 land attacks with Italy on a combined? I cannot, so we will not do that attack this instance. Germany. Wither Germany. Move this guy over there. We're still not gonna... This is just staring at each other right now. Germany is very pleased that the Italians have entered the war, but it's not going to be decisive yet for a while, is it? So... move this guy here. Yep, that's essentially it. Next turn, offensive chit. That's what we want to see. Then there might be some movement on this front finally again. Yep, let's see if the turn ends like this. Now I get to move these Japanese folks. So 1, 2, and 3, like that. Just building up for the attack that is sure to come eventually. Let's see if the turn will end, shall we? It does not! Wow, this is a long turn. Very long turn. Allies. Okay, we have Italians in the south. That is a new problem. France will do a combined, I believe. We need to get rid of... Or should... No. Yeah, we can do a combined, I think. Actually, it's better to do a combined, I think, because we get more strategic moves, don't we? No, we do not. On the land, we get more strategic moves. 2 strategic moves. Okay, then. That is to be the case. France will do a land. Don't particularly like the idea, but here it is. And the only city we can really pull anything out of is Paris. So we will send these guys down here to Toulouse. Nothing much else we can do there. Okay, so if I'm only doing the 1, then I might as well do it combined. Send the submarine out. 1, 2, 3. Some French subs that can shoot down some Italian convoys here. And flip Navy here to find the Italians yet again. The Italians find the French. What am I doing? There we go. Oh my god! The Italians find the French and the French are surprised. The French and British Navy is surprised. Which is going to be pretty much like last time, isn't it? The aircraft superiority is just not going to show up this time. I rolled a, what was it, a 1 with? So all the Italian ships are involved here. We have the three air-to-sea factors, but we also have like all of these guys. So 5, 10, plus 5, that's 15 this time. 15 anti-air factors for the Italians. And I roll a 5. 15 anti-air factors, which flips this way, and we have 1 enemy bomber. So it's 1 on the 3 table. And I rolled, what did I roll for the bomber run? A 5. No, for the naval air. So we have anti-air, 1 on the 3, and I rolled a 5, so that's 2. We have 1 enemy bomber getting through. So anti-air to sea factor of 1 against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ships. 9 ships. That is 1 on the 1, but it's flipped this way because of the surprise, so it's nothing. Yep, once again, the Italian flag does its job. But we have another unit to flip! Let's go! So, will they find each other yet again, is the question. Will it be a surprise yet again, is the question. Let's go. Okay, both 6s. No! The 2 navies do not find each other. They are staring listlessly at each other, and they have no idea of what to do with anything. Okay then. Yeah, I think that is basically it for France at the moment. As well as Britain. France is in trouble right now, not gonna lie. But so is Italy, I think. I have no idea where these guys are gonna go. Oh. Just improvising on the way, on the road here. I think the Soviets are quite content. I don't think the British have any intention of actually attacking anything in Egypt right now. Everything is fine that way. So let's see if the turn ends. Maybe there's one thing the British want to do before we forget about it, and that is to put up some escorts here, so those Italian subs are nullified. Okay, now we can see if the turn ends. And the turn ends! There we have it, my friends. March and April is completed. That was a long turn. We are going to roll for some partisans. And we roll a 1 on the partisan table, which means Greece, Spain, Finland, France, Yugoslavia, Malaya, USA, and India. So nothing. Okay, next step. Convoy attack phase. Yeah, do I want to attack anything here? I have a serious negatives here, so no, I'm not going to attack anything with the German subs, and likewise I'm not going to attack anything with the Italian subs. They got their escorts out, the escorts worked. US entry phase. Okay. Not much difference from last turn, is it? We have 1940. It's been 3 years since... It's not 3 years yet. It's 2 and a bit years since the years at war started. So +2 for that. We have 2 democracies. No, each other MP at war with a Democrat. So that will be Italy, Germany, and Japan. So that's +3. So that's +5 now. -1, so it's +4. -1 because Japan 6, right? So it's +4 in total. And next turn, when the politics phase, we're going to get a lot of effect on US entry as well because of the Italian declaration of war. 5 + 4 is a 9, which is a +2. On the US entry, which is in fact a +3 because of presidential veto. And where are we going to put that? Let's put it against Germany, shall we? So it's going to be a 92, which gives us an effective of +16. Italy's going to go up very steeply very soon, and we're going to have -27 and 17 against Japan. Still a low US entry at this stage of the game. Okay, production phase. The US gets 6 money per turn. It still wants to gear up. It now has 7 money. May, June 42. That's in 2 years, so we're gonna have to start building some stuff here next turn, which is why we want the gear up. November, December 42. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think the US is actually gonna save its money because we're gonna need that money for gear ups and whatnot, so we're just saving the money for the US. We have 21 production here for the Commonwealth. So they actually end up with 20 money. Not sending anything to China this turn because they need all the money they can get. November, December 41. So at the end of this year, I'll have to start building that one. So no required builds for the Commonwealth, which is probably just as well. We have a lot in the construction pool here. This one I do have to build this turn. That heavy surface group. Which is in fact the Repulse and the Prince of Wales. Very well. 5 money. Oh, we need infantry up the wazoo. So 1 there. Let's build 2 infantry. I think I will want an air transport as well. Not cavalry. Aircraft, there we go. So, there we go. -6 for the infantry. 1, 2. Really? We're getting all the Indian troops. Every single Indian troop is coming in. Maybe we'll send some to the desert to fight in North Africa, because we have a ridiculous amount of those guys. And some South Africans are coming in too, which can be handy in the African campaign. We set an air transport, because we do have one of those. And that is 5 money, I believe. And I think I'm going to save the rest for now. Air transports are very useful for reorganizing units and for dropping paras when the enemy doesn't want, where the enemy doesn't want them. We're going to need naval air as well. France starts with -9 money and will end up at 11 plus 2 money, which is going to go away immediately for 1 infantry because we lost an infantry and we need it back. So that is that. That's a very simple build. So no aircraft this time, 1 infantry. Do we want to repair some ships perhaps with France? We could repair a destroyer group here. Probably not a terrible idea. It's only 2 money and could very much tip the scales in the Med. So let's do that. -3 money for France. The Soviet Union is at -4 money, plus 9 gives us 9. Plus 5 money gives us. Why not an armor? Soviets are fine with stuff right now. They're not in a hurry. So, 1 armor. Only have 3 left to build. And no infantry left, which means that soon the Soviets will get to add some white prints. Which I'm sure they're very sad over. So the Chinese are at -1 plus 3. That's just an infantry write-off. We are not building another fighter, even though we could, because let's face it, we just need more infantry to cover all the flanks and everything. All the HQs are have now been built. A 4-3 nationalist unit is maybe not exactly what China wants right now because of that communist front, but it's what we get. And for the Axis, -3 money, -1 for that bomb run over Berlin gives us 22 money plus, which means plus 18 money. And we have a lot of things to build in general for the Germans here. Look at that. Yep, we have to build this one because it's going to... I forgot to build that last turn. That is my bad. Okay. We are completing the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, which is 5 money. So for once, a German ship. 13. We built 2 aircraft last turn. We are going to do that again. It's going to be another fighter, obviously. Are we building 2 fighters or 1 fighter and a tactical? Because I have a lot of tacticals as well to build. That would be 9 together. And then an infantry. So, yeah, let's do that. So, let's go. We have 1 fighter, and it's a bad fighter. It's a tactical, and it's a mediocre. So that gives us 9 money left, 4 money left. We're gonna need some money for that declaration of war on Norway, unfortunately. So maybe I do not build infantry this turn. I'm just trying to rebuild the Luftwaffe here, which took so many losses. Italy has also taken losses this turn. Italy is now in the war. And it's still, the jury's still out on whether this was a good idea or not. I think we're losing a resource because of that East African resource. So we have 6 money. And the first thing that happened was that we lost that naval air. I think the best alternative here is really to go for a fighter, because it only costs 4. And yeah, we need to pay for the declaration of war as well, don't we? So yeah, a fighter. That is all we get from Italy this turn. I'm not sure who is winning this war, honestly. They need to shut down France really fast with the Axis here. Otherwise, things are not going to end well. And Japan, finally. It's going to have 15 money at the start of this turn, which is lovely. Start of this production. This one comes in May, June 41. So yes, the keel has to be laid down now. This is an aircraft carrier for Japan. It's 6 money right there. And that is the Junyo and the Hiyu. Okay. So 9 money left. What else did we build with Japan last turn? We built an aircraft and a ship. We're not going to build any more ships right now, because 6 money for an aircraft carrier is a lot. I might actually want to build a naval and a fighter. Blah! That's not what I wanted to do. Shuffle like that is what I wanted to do. That's a good fighter. And a naval bomber, because naval bombers are useful. So that is 9 money. No money left. That is a lot of aircrafty stuff. An aircraft carrier, a fighter, naval bomber. Not at all in preparation for an American entry into the war. Nope, no siree. No siree, Bob. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. So the Japanese are not building an infantry this turn, but they are building 2 aircraft. And that is the production phase for everybody. Now we have the return to base phase. And that is going to be a little bit more complicated this time. The Axis start. And they could have to go through this area here, where there is in fact heavy surface waiting for them. But since there's a lot of Italian stuff here, the question is, do we want to stay out here with some ships? No, we do not. There's way too many Allied ships out here. So I think we're going to return to base everything in Genoa. That is what I think we're going to do. Oh, we had the French here who wanted to... No, we don't want to, because all these escorts will just absolutely obliterate that submarine. So, yep, the entire Italian Navy is going to, including Bianchi, is going to go back to Genoa here. And then next turn, I guess, we're going to have to deal with the French and British Navy, respectively. The submarines can return to base in Syracuse, why not? And as such, the French Navy will return to base in Marseille, because it's a good place to be. And right now, so they will have, and the British Navy goes back to the Rock, of course. Gibraltar, good safe harbor. Malta is too small to house all those ships. We don't want to have a lone battleship out there, so we're going back home to Malta. Malta is, however, still in supply. I think we're gonna leave these guys out here, though, to guard the convoys. We are also returning to base with not one, but two transports here. This one will go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Landing in Khartoum. No, wait, we can land in Suez because that's part of the Red Sea. So Australians have arrived in Cairo, which will be very much appreciated, and we'll have some Canadians arriving in Brest. Why not? Immediately, straight in there. Or wait, we have 1, 2, 3. Do we want to end in Cherbourg? Where will we even get any new infantry at all next turn? No, we will not. Not for the Commonwealth. We do want the Canadians on scene, so let's put the Canadians here then, in Le Havre. They're not limited by the size of the HQ anymore. So, yeah, some Canadian crack troops arriving are sending the transport back here, and all of these troops are going back to their base in Scapa Flow, except those two. The Rodney and the Nelson and the Barkham and the Royal Oak will maintain a patrol. I don't even know why I have this convoy out here, honestly. I'm gonna put it in Brest or Cherbourg or something, because Norway is not supplying us with any resources anymore with the democracies. Even the German ships are returning to a base. We did not attack the convoys there because We're a little bit scared here, but if we can get Norway, we will get some nice bases here in Narvik and in Bergen to start striking with some more efficiency against. Just keep these guys out there for now, maybe. No, we don't, because we always want to wait to see where the Germans try to strike with those submarines. And so we have 2 transports. Copenhagen is a nice big port, isn't it? Yes, so we can send everything back to Copenhagen. So that next turn we can finish off the Norwegians properly. And get another resource for the Reich. In here we have Italy has taken its first naval losses. All of these guys are reorganized. French North Africa is completely open for conquest, which is going to be lovely for Italy. That is at least one more resource to Italy and not to France. Okay, we have French units that have to be unflipped here. Specifically this infantry and the aircraft carrier. Let's put it like so we can see everything properly, and this unit there. So right now these guys are in supply, but whoever wins control over the Western Med, these guys might get out of supply. It was not an ideal attack by the Italians, but this is an interesting situation, right? The prospect of France losing all of North Africa to the Italians is something that Mussolini absolutely loves. There's that. We remember the infantry corps here next to Karl Voss, which was disrupted yet again. And whatever troops we have, that transport, we can send it back to Tokyo. One army in Taiwan unflipped. And that was basically it for all of that. So, yes, there we have it, folks. Final reorganization of March and April. And Investen nicht Neues. Nothing new on the Western Front. It's just a gridlock here. Next turn there will be an offensive chit, and then things will happen. I'm pretty sure. Will there be enough British units here, Canadians, to stop the Germans from taking Paris? Which would be a great relief for the Axis at this point, or not? Because without France, Yugoslavia will not join the war on the Allied side. France will have to break the Soviet alliance with Yugoslavia and join in Yugoslavia very quickly to have a chance to benefit from that. And after that, it's going to be Britain versus Italy on the high seas, basically. So, yeah. Summer of 1940 is going to be an interesting and intense one, basically. Thank you very much for joining us this time again. Like before, we'll have politics, 3 declarations of war, Germany against Norway, the USSR against the Baltic states, 4 declarations of war, Italy against France, and the Commonwealth against Italy. That is 4 declarations of war coming up on a political turn near you for May-June 1940. It's heating up, and we're going to be here for it. We're going to follow it turn by turn. I might not be able to do, in fact I will not be able to do the live stream next week because I'm traveling. Hopefully I'll be able to continue after that promptly. Depends on whether I can run this from a laptop while traveling. If I can, I'll be back in 2 weeks. If I cannot, I'll see you guys towards the end of July. But we'll find out soon enough. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.